Okay, hi guys. Can you see the presenter mode?
Yeah.
Oh, you can see it, right? Okay, I'll just not use it. It's fine. Okay. Um, since it's already 8:05, I will start the lesson. So hello everyone, I'm Anna Zhou from K-Pao School from Shanghai, and today I'm going to introduce a topic about Confucius, and also is he a hypocritical formalist? Okay, so table of contents is not introduction. Oh gosh, I think it's the wrong one, but okay, so introduction and go through of what the last week's topic, and then okay, I'll just not use it. It's not the right one. Okay. Oh, sorry, that's not the right one. Um, okay, so this is correct one, and I will be talking about if Confucius is a hypocritical formalist. And today it's the 19th of August, and let's start. So review on the last lesson, Book of Odes. What is if there are no forms and li? And so one is what is formalism and li? Are they the same thing? And then we're gonna talk about Chunqiu time period and also dive deep into Chinese funeral, so you have a better understanding of what the culture is like. Okay, so homework I checked out in the Google Classroom, and I posted several readings and previews. So it's okay if you don't answer the questions, but I highly recommend you guys to at least have a glance at what we're going to talk about so you can better understand. And after class reflection, it's up to you. Okay. And
By the way, I saw the assignment you posted in Google Classroom, but the formatting is a tiny bit weird.
oh,
Um,
okay,
but
I'll check it up later. So
yeah.
I pasted something. Maybe it's the Chinese format just gone wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. I just realized I didn't open my camera. So morning, guys. And review on last lesson and what we talk about. We talk about book of oaths. So share what you have learned, no matter it's big or small. Just tell me something you remember till now from last week. Do you remember anything? It can be anything. Maybe thoughts or feelings.
It's like a lot of cool poems in it.
Yeah, a lot of cool poems. We'll talk about the basic information about why it's written and the origin of that and three hypotheses. And then we dive deep into different kind of poems from love scene. Like we'll talk about very love poems and show how brave and bold the woman back then was. And also talk about some poems that are microcosm of the society back in that time. So I'm really glad you still remember there's cool poems. Okay, so let's jump into today's topic. What if there's no external forms, rituals, or propriety? So, a definition of formalism is that the practice or the doctrine of strict adherence to prescribed or external forms, as in religion or art. So, what if there are no external forms? So, what will happen? So before we answer that quite big question, can any one of you describe your daily life without mentioning anything related to rights or external forms, or maybe to just the more like being polite to everyone? Can you imagine a day like that and describe your daily life? Okay, I will share my life if there's no rights or external forms. If there's no um this kind of forms and rights that force me I might wake up by 9 a.m. in the morning instead of 6. And then I will not say hi and morning to my mother and father because it's the rights and also the forms that force me to be polite with them. It's not it's not like you're forced to do so. It's not like you have to say so or you'll die. So I will just abandon that. And normally I'll help my mother to clean and do some chores in the house. But since I don't care, I won't do that. And then by the noon, while my mother was still cooking, I will not wait for her and directly start eating my meals. Because although she is my parent, I do not care about whether or not she's waiting for me. I won't wait for her. I'll just start my meal because I'm hungry to death. So this leads to the question is that what if your parents had not started the meals while you start eating and do not wait for them? So normally I will not. I will wait for them because I respect them and I think it is a proper thing to do because we're taught to do so. But have you ever wondered why do we do that? Although it's taught, but why do we do that? And then getting to the afternoon, um, I might hang out with some friends, and then normally I'll be on time. But things this is today without anything correlated to rights and external forms. I'll just be late and then let them wait for me for 2 hours in the bus station or something. I don't care. And then you will find that this day, compared to every other day, seems to be different and also to be very thin. So you're doing the same thing, but it just the way and the structure you're doing things is a different. And this leads out to what is Li. Okay, so I find a very interesting way for you guys to understand what is Li. Um, when you type into the Chinese into the English Google Translator, it will make up many words for you. So take a glance at all those words it made up. For example, ceremony, 礼仪, 礼节, and then rituals, 礼仪, 仪式, courtesy, 礼貌, 礼节, propriety, 礼仪, 礼节, 礼貌, right, 仪式, 礼仪, manners, 礼貌, proprieties, 礼仪, 礼貌. So you'll find, okay, Li seems to be a very big idea that have all those smaller sub-subjects inside. So it might mean ceremony, it might mean rituals, it might mean all kind of things. So what is it actually? Rights are the basis of undermining, determining proper human relationships, clarify ambiguities, differentiating between things, and telling right from wrong. So the analect written by Confucius said that it's to make harmony a top priority in the application of rights. So by looking at it, what do you think? Making harmony a top priority in application of rights? Why do you think people even care about harmony? So why do people care about determining proper human relations? Why should we have proper human relations? Why can I just don't care about my parents? Why can't I just beat them? Why do I need to be respectful and love and care my parents and showed up on time with my friends? What is proper human relations? So Li is the uttermost important concept that lasted from 春秋, which is about 2,000, 3,000 years before till now. And it changed from its original meaning to nowadays Li. And at the very so before then, in the 春秋 time period, it is a way for the governors, empires, and also the most influential people to have control over the lower social status people. And how? Okay, let's see. Li is a term for social norms which regulates an individual's relationship with other people, everything else in nature, and even ghosts and spirits. And after reading almost also definitions, you'll find that individuals' relationship with other people, like this human relationship, seems to be the most important concept. And before that, I want you guys to share what are some social norms or like things that you will do in US, and I'll share some social norms in China. So can any of you open your microphone and share some social norms in US? Maybe not social norms, but some concept that everyone agrees, or some basic principles, fundamental principles that are rooted in American culture. Okay, so there must be some. Just think like what are something that you guys held strong believing, or maybe or schools taught you to be the right thing to do in the society. It might not be what something you believe, but it's what the majority of the society believes. Can you list any of the social norms in US?
I'm not quite sure what you mean. Can you like some in like China and like maybe I can use that as like a reference?
So I mean, so is there any kind of principles or maybe like a common held idea that the majority of the society believes? Maybe it's democracy, or maybe it's independence, or maybe it's something like that. So I'll just give example of social norms in China first, and then you can mimic how I um give examples in China. So China is a country and society that highly prioritize human relationship, and also about filial piety, meaning the care and love to your parents and your grandparents and your grandparents, just showing respect and reverence to the elders. And also China held great respect to kinship. So someone in your family is always your family, no matter how wrong they do or something like so evil and wicked, but they will always be your family because you're born in this you have the same last name, and it's a very powerful thing in the rural areas. But in Shanghai, people do not care much about kinship, but in villages and also in the interior states in China and provinces, people do care a lot about kinship, and also people care about inheritance, especially the eldest son and the male inheriting the family business and the wealth. So that's some kind of social norms in China, because China does not have like a very prevalent and prominent religion like Christianity, and also all kind of religion in the Western world. So Chinese people and Chinese society is bounded by those human relationships and also kinship. That's like the two are the most important thing in Chinese society, and you'll find them everywhere, especially in not that developed country cities. So you won't find much human relationships in Beijing, Shanghai, or Shenzhen, or like any major city you can list. But in maybe in Anhui, Sichuan, Gansu, like those smaller states and those less modernized places, the villagers, they do care a lot about this. And this leads back to Li and also the tradition that lasted so many thousands of years. And what I listed to be the social norms or the principles of the US might be, or maybe the Western world, maybe it's equality, maybe it's from Christianity. So Christianity is also a social, like a very big idea in the US, and it has been rooted in the Western civilization for thousands of years, just like kingship and Li in China. And also, people care about independence and democracy, and this is a big gulf between US and China. And my mother and father was always surprised by how detached the I mean the American, maybe not um Chinese in American, but I mean the white people in China, they seem to be very detached and also away from the family after they grown up. But in China, it's different ways. So Chinese parents expect you to be um rejoining them in every spring festival, and also they hold this idea that you always belong to the family. But in US, it's more about individuals. Like maybe I do not mean individualism, but also focusing on yourself more. But in China, it's more considered as a bonded group, a network, a society that's connected like a web. And you will have different kind of relationships with different people in the web, but you will always find the correct relationship with them. Maybe your cousin's friends, maybe it's your um cousin's relatives, and maybe it's your superiors, maybe it's your boss, maybe it's your professor in the university. You will always find this kind of bound between every person, and that's very different in China and America, because America is more I believe it's more individuals, and also what do you say, it's from yourself's perspective. So the general purpose of Li is to connect um and also yet differentiate people in different gender, kinship, and ethnicity. And it's the othermost political and religious tool in Asian China, as it bounds individuals through rituals. Okay, this might be a little bit confusing. How can you have a thing that connect yet differentiate people? The first purpose of it is to connect. How does it connect? So if you have a common enemy, or you have this fear of something, it will naturally unite the people in this one region to be together and unite and then fought back to this enemy, right? So if you have this common goal or idea or religion, it will bond individual. And how does it bound? The structure of it is through rituals, all kind of rituals, no matter funerals or matter it's sacrifice, or it's all kind of rituals that connect people and make the individuals feel that they belong to a certain society that has this kind of rituals. However, it differentiates people in some ways, and it characterizes people in different gender, kinship, and ethnicity. Gender is very easy to understand. In Asian China, woman is not considered as people. They're like more like positions and also objects. And then kinship, that the bond inside a big family because they all have the same last name. And then ethnicity, it's about like which region are you from? Are you from the north? Are you from the south? So that's a thing. And it differentiates people, most importantly, their social status. So the rituals who run, like the people who run and design the rituals, are the most influential people. This leads back to the topic of history. China is formed by different tribes, and because this kind of history is not recorded and in written in paper, so many still doesn't believe that China have a 3,000 years history. But back in like 3,000, 4,000 years before, China is made of tribes, and these tribes, they need to unite people. And through what ways? Through witchcraft. It might surprise you that China have witchcraft, but indeed it does. And the witches and also is mostly male. So they would have all kind of rituals, and they are the most influential people in the tribe other than the chief. The priest and the chief are the most significant people that lead the tribes, because the priest and the chief need to made up a common enemy. Maybe it's an evil god, or maybe it's an enemy from far away. They had to have to create something that the tribal people will fear of, so that then the chief and the priest can show how important they were through how, like, you can use rituals to defend the enemy from the tribe, or maybe they can lead the tribe into a more prominent space. So the higher status, social status people have always been the designer and the constructor of rituals. And yet the lower status people, maybe they are farmers and they are businessmen and they are they're educated and they are taught in a way that the priests and the emperors are the most important for the rituals. So the lower status people will respect and show great amount of bravery to the empires and the priest. However, if someday people poke out like this is a lie, you guys are not important at all. The rituals were fake. They are made up. They are not important. Sacrifice to God doesn't matter. And then the emperors will be revolt, and there will be highly possible for a coup and not the overthrow happening. Though that's why Li and keeping the hypocritical lie so important for the thousands of years. Okay, so um formalism versus Li. I hope you guys have a better understanding of what is Li in ancient China, because you might get confused like why do you use a Chinese pinyin version of a concept, a philosophical concept? It's because Li has contained so many ideas inside it. Just simply using rituals, proprieties, or manners doesn't define what is Li. And um, formalism versus Li is a very interesting topic, and that's the topic of whether or not Confucius is a formalist. And can any one of you list some formalism, not rituals, but maybe some kind of activities you need to do in your daily life? And why do you characterize them in that way? Do you have any ideas like do you think something is not should not be done that way, but you're forced to do that every day? So can you list any formalism events in your life? Hello guys. Just open your microphone and tell me one thing you think it's formalism. Okay, do you understand what a formalism is? I think I did that before. It just because you're forced to follow a doctrine or maybe a principle, you need to do this ritual and it is not based on your own will. So do you have any kind of this formalism? Okay, maybe you do not have. I will share a few examples in China. The first one is that we will raise the flag every week, which um seems not to be formalism because we are taught to love the country. We are taught that patriotism is very important in your life and that make up the holiest person in the ever world. However, however, I would like to argue that raising the flag does not mean necessarily loving the country. So in the every week assembly of Monday in Monday, our school have to raise the flag, which is also really funny. It's virtual. We'll raise the flag on a PowerPoint in the auditorium. And then people will sing the national anthem, and then people will just stand up and show respect to the national flag. It is indeed important to show respect to the country and the national flag, but forcing the students to raise the flags every week, it's formalism because students do not want to do it. We students does not have the will and we do not want to do this, and then we do not understand why we're doing this. The most important thing about formalism is that the process is ongoing. It's ongoing, and then the people involved does not understand why it is continuing over and over again because we do not want to participate in it. We do not understand the purpose of it, and that is formalism. And then another thing might be all those speeches given under the flag. Again, the speeches are just copy and paste forever. From the first grade till ninth grade, I've been hearing all kinds of speeches under the red flag. So this is might be very prevalent in China, maybe not in America, I do not know. So in elementary school, we need to raise a flag like actually in the playground, and then the smartest student or the person with the best grade will be picked, and then he or she will give a speech under the red flag every Monday. And I was very honoredly once invited, and I gave a speech that I does not understand a single word. And mostly the topic will be patriotism, or maybe how should we behave, and how should we behave like a good student, and all that kind of thing. We students never want to hear, we just gossip under the red flag, and then we wait until the speech is finished. And that is a very funny and hilarious formalism example that we Chinese students are forced to do every week. And even until high school, we cannot expect that. It's just annoying. Okay, so I will show you a video. So this is in Shandong. Shandong of China is a province, and then people are bowing and kneeling down, and that is one of the Chinese festivals, and you can see. So what you can infer about this video is that this might be a ritual, and this is also might be characterized as formalism. Do you think the people who bow down and kneel down to the ground know what they're doing? Like, why do they kneel down? I believe the three people with the yellow scarf might know, but the people behind them or taking the video does not know why they are doing this. This is in the Shandong province, or so this area, this region back in the Chunqiu time period is where Confucius is born, and also where Confucius is most prevalent and prominent. So this is a festival showing respect to Confucius and all kind of gods in back in ancient China. And then you can see clearly and infer from this video that only the male person is kneeling down, and the woman is behind them. The woman is taking videos. The woman is not allowed. It's not that they do not want to do that. It's not allowed for the woman to be kneeling down and showing respect. Because as we explained before, kingship and human relationship is the most important thing in Li. And you can infer that the three person with the yellow scarf will be the person with the highest social status. Maybe they do not have high social status, but they have the highest status in their family. Maybe they all have the last name of Zhou, and then the outermost front person, this is the chief of the Zhou family, and then all those younger people are in the back. So this can show is like a power pyramid. Top of the top is the eldest and the most important, the most wealthiest male leader in the family. And then it's the second oldest man and the third oldest man, and then the very bottom is maybe the woman and also younger children. And that is kind of a combination of ritual and formalism in nowadays China. And this is interesting because you'll find this to be in the original of China's Li region. This is in Lunan, this is in Shandong, and then this is like the origin spot for Confucius to spread his ideas. And you will not find such thing in Shanghai, or maybe in the southern part of China. It's only in the top part of China that people are doing this thing. Okay, talking back to the origin of Li. Can you take a look at the left picture? And oh, sorry. Pointer. Okay, so I have a laser pen and I hope you can see that. So this is the most ancient language in China called 甲骨文, and then 甲骨文 is a 象形文字, which means people, well, like this language is derived from drawings. It's from symbolism, and you can see from the left picture. So this is the original, the earliest symbol of Li, which looks very strange. And then it derived and developed into the left or the right hand side one. And then you can see that it's um it's first, like in the middle one, its first look very similar to this, to the picture of it, to the drawing of it. And then after some years, maybe some hundred of years, it developed into this. The right hand side one still look the same to the original picture. You can still see the structure of it. And then the left one is added a very special um wordings and symbolism, and which it means 是. So 是 in the ancient Chinese means 祭祀 or sacrificial ceremony. And then the right hand side one, it means 串, and 串 means objects used in rituals. And looking at 串 nowadays, it looks very similar to the very first symbol and figure. Do you think so? Like they also have this rectangular box, and then there is a axis of symmetry passing by, and this might be axis symmetry may be this, so it's an object used in ceremonies and rituals. So Li does not mean, okay, it does not mean objects used in sacrificial ceremonies. It does not mean that, but it is indeed the origin of this word. So Li might be humble in performing certain rituals, but not only. It's not only sacrificial ceremonies, but also all kind of rituals. And I want to have talk more about sacrificial ceremony. So there is a very popular movie ongoing in China. It's called Function, and it talks about the history around around like time period before 春秋. It's in Shang Dynasty and talking about Zhou Dynasty, and it is not. It is like a more like historical fiction plus some kind of legend and fantasy element in that. So if you have the chance to go to the cinema and watch that movie, I highly recommend you guys to watch that because its plot is magnificent. Because its plot is based on a book written in the Ming-Qing dynasty. Is like 2,000 years after the Shang dynasty. And then the casting, it's very good, and you can search up online. So if they have, I can post it in the Google Classroom later. You can watch the trailers. And then, what did I mention about Fengshen? Because in that movie, the main conflict it's about sacrificial ceremony. So the priest of the national priest of the royal family, tells the entire world saying that this dynasty is going to doom. It will be overthrown, and the emperor will be killed by his own son. So after this prophet give this kind of after like the priest give this kind of prophet, everyone was scared to death because at that time priests have a very, very, very high status, and what they consider like what is said and what they suggested will be considered as the future. So if the priest says we are going to have a dim future and there will be drought and there will be earthquake and then there will be all kind of natural disasters happening, our dynasty is gonna to explode. How do you think the emperor will respond? Just open the microphone and tell me how do you think the empire will respond?
Maybe like really worried because like this is a really bad like sense that he might like die and stuff.
Yeah, so not only they will be mad, like the emperor cannot show how irritated or angry they are to the priest. Like that particular empire does not believe a single thing the priest said because he think I'm the uttermost important person. I'm the most fierce general. I'm gonna destroy anything that happened. However, as we mentioned before, priest and the emperor both have very high social status in society. So normally, a emperor cannot kill a priest because a priest is normally um the eldest man, the eldest and eldest man in the entire royal family, and he have been the religious leader for a long time. So the political leader or the emperor have no right to kill the priest if only because the priest have made a bad prophet about the future. And what the emperor do, or the Shangzhou Wang, I do not know if you know him. Shangzhou Wang is like the last emperor of the Zhou dynasty. What he had done is that he said, I'm going to build the largest sacrificial building in the world. And when that architecture, when that building is finished, when that is finished constructed, I will be going inside and sacrifice my own self, and then plus 100 alive person, and also thousands of goats and sheep and chickens and all that things, and burn down the entire building and myself and 100 person to the gods, and then to ask forgiveness from our gods so that our Shang dynasty could last forever. And apparently, this Shang Zhou does not do this, or else maybe the Shang dynasty will not end. So that's basically um Li and sacrificial ceremony and also the movie. So I highly recommend you guys can watch that. It's a really good movie and the casting is really good. And let me see. Okay. Before knowing any more information about Chunqiu, and I'll talk about it later, so can you infer why Li was extremely important in ancient China? Can you sum it up for me?
It was like basically the defining thing that like everyone ran their lives around, I guess. Like it kind of governed everyone's lives because like it was super important to like follow all these like, rules and customs and stuff.
Yeah. So it's the fundamental of every governor, even till now. It just in a very subtle and hidden way, like it's still Li, but a different form of Li. And we'll have a 10 minutes break. And after that, we're gonna talk about Chunqiu and funeral. And I will be sharing the screen. Sorry, I'll be sharing the screen of the trailer, the movie trailer. And you can take a break. I'll just show the movie. So um okay, so this is a very common Chinese ritual. So we have a shell from what is it called? From a tortoise, from a turtle, and this turtle might live like 4,000 years, and then the shell and the back of it will be used in rituals and prophecies. So the back of it is taken, and then we'll use a fire under it to burn it. So this is a shell, and this is the fire, and it is burning it. And then the priest will interpret the cracks on it, because after you burn the shells, it'll have smaller kind of cracks or patterns, all kind of things showing up on that. And in this movie, the tortoise shell cracked. It cracked and into pieces, which means like the future of this dynasty will be just like the broken pieces. It will just broke. So they are fighting and okay, so this is about the cracks I had mentioned. You can see like this is a turtle shell, and after lighting it and warming it, it is cracked. And using nowadays scientific solution to it, it will just crack. Of course, if it's a shell and it is lighted and is warmed by a fire, it will crack. But the ancient people does not care and it does not understand. So they take it as a bad prophet. So so it is a little bit fantasy. It's not purely history, this movie.
弟子愿持封神榜下山，哀何救众生免待等。
Okay, so this is the magnificent sacrificial building I mentioned before. So the Shangzhou Wang said to the world that he's gonna burn him in this building the day it is finished constructed. Okay, so that's the trailer, and we'll be back in 55. So the class will be coming back at 8:55. So I'm gonna take a cup of water and bye guys. Hey guys, I'm back. So gonna talk more about history and funeral. I hope you find it interesting. Can you see the screen right now? Let me see. Why? You guys see the screen because it said it's paused sharing right now?
It still hasn't started showing. It just like shows the words that you've started screen sharing, but like it doesn't.
Let me check what's wrong with it. And can you see it right now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. So I'm gonna talk about 春秋 time period and funeral. I have never talked about funeral to any one of you, like to my friends or my classmates before, but let's talk about funeral. So first of all, traveling back to 春秋 time period, well, where 孔子 is born. Patriarchal clan system, 宗法制. These two, feudalism and 宗法制 patriarchal clan system is like two political system and structure of the entire society. And what is patriarchal clan system? It is that firstborn succession, in other words, the firstborn male child by the legitimate the wife of the male or inherited everything this father owned, no matter social status, wealth, land, reputation, all that thing. And then what is the purpose of it? It is a purpose to ensure the noble social status while being inherited throughout generation. So if like the father is really he is a very good general and he had fought many wars and then he win and he got this land from the empire. And then if his son is so bad at it, like his son does not know how to read, does not know how to fight, does not know how to be a good person. However, to ensure that the descendants of a male noble can still inherit everything, patriarchal clan system is introduced. And then since then, every lazy man, if he have a good father, he will win everything. And then there is this a famous Chinese saying that 立子以低不以长，立地以长不以贤. It just means that if you want to set a character, you need to firstly it should be a male, it should be a son of yours, and then you should D means that he is born by the I don't know how to say like 正妻 the big wife, and then 不以长 means like the oldest, and then 立地以长不以贤. So while you are picking from all those males sons of all the sons that is given birth by your wife, and then you should pick the eldest one instead of the wisest one. So do you think like this inheritance style is reasonable, like picking a person based on her mother, who is his mother and when he was born? Like, is it reasonable? If not, like, why do you think it's preserved for thousands of years?
I guess just society's been like patriarchal, so there's that. And I guess it's like just easiest, and like you don't really have like that many people disputing like who it goes to if you have like a set era, in this case like the oldest male
Yeah,
person.
you have made the most important point. It's easy. And what easy means it will avoid all kind of conflicts. If this rule is set and rooted into society, the younger but like he's smarter and he had more ideas. He does not want to fight with his elder brother because the entire society knows that his brother will be the one to inherit everything. And if like this rule is not set and then rooted in people's mind, and all the empire have all those kind of brothers and sisters, they will fight to death. I mean, before like 1,000 years or something, this is the way society goes on. There's no conflict between who will inherit what. It's just the eldest male goes on and on and on, and the younger brothers. This leads to the left picture. Let me find the laser pointer. So, Zhou Tianzi means like the emperor. He's wearing yellow, so he is the emperor, and then he will inherit the entire empire belong to him, and then Zhu Hou is probably the brother of his. The Zhu Hou will inherit smaller areas, and then the sons of Zhu Hou will or like Qing Dafu, they will inherit smaller lands, and Qing Dafu's son will like be Shi. Like this is gradually decreasing the land a noble can inherit it, and then if like there is all kind of conflict, maybe the society will not go on using this pyramid. Like they'll be fighting because they think I can make more profits. I can be a better person. I can govern much more better than you. Why my father picked you? I will be the man. I will be the man controlling everything. And then the whole world will become in warfares. People are fighting each other. And then it's not a good thing for the society because peacefulness, it's the fundamental thing for society to develop. And then this is the very interesting pyramid. And then it is still preserved for thousands of years. So till now, it's not like as rigid as before, but still in some specific regions. For example, in Shandong, as I mentioned before, like the birthplace of Confucius, and also in Fujian, which is like around Shenzhen, like the lower part of China. Those two places highly use this. My roommate, she is from Fujian, and her family is a really big one. Like, she told me that while her grandfather was having birthday party, they have like 30 tables with like 15, 15 on each table or 20 on each table. Like they have 600 relatives. Just imagine a great grandfather is having birthday party and 600 relatives come because they have this they owned a very influential company and that makes a lot of money. And luckily, her father was like the eldest male son of the grandfather. So her father inherited the entire thing. However, she, like my roommate, she was the second daughter of her father, and she have a elder sister. So it turns out to be that she have no way to inherit the family's business. First of all, she's not the eldest. Second of all, she's not male. However, her father loved her very much and still provides the best education for her. However, her father still wants to like give this family business to her elder sister or maybe her. But the larger family, like the Fujian, like the 600 relatives, does not agree. They says it must be a male son who inherited everything. That's ridiculous, but that is the truth in Fujian. And this is only one case. Do not take like Fujian, like every family is like, nah, no. It is some specific region, like you had a lot of wealth and family business. That is highly possible the case. And then another thing about Fujian and patriarchal clan system is that we have a jiapu. I don't even know that. Like, it's like a family tree. And then on the family tree, daughters are not allowed on that family tree. And women are not allowed on the family tree. And so where do they appear? They must appear somewhere, right? So they appear on their husband's family tree. And back in ancient China, their last name will be changed to their husband's last name. So this might seem like everyday life in America because I assume women married to a husband, like their last name will be changed. But in LA, China, women married to a man, their last name is not changed. They do not go to the male's family tree. They stay on their own. So that's a very ridiculous ritual of patriarchal clan system. Just like as funny as is, 粒子一滴不一丈，粒滴一丈不一些. But fundamentally, it avoids this principle avoid all kinds of possible conflict. And so I personally respect this rule, but not allowing women to like be on their own family tree is ridiculous. Okay, so what is feudalism? Feudalism in Zhou Dynasty, just like what I had mentioned before of having this pyramid, it's just the same thing. Based on the social status, you have a area of land that is proportional. So each small region, sometimes referred as nation or guo, is directly ruled by a person. And this person, like it might be nobles. This person will be a noble, and depending on how close this noble is to the king, if he's really close, and he'll have a very big land with like thousands and hundreds of millions of peasants working for him, and then they have army. However, they need to pay taxes and show respect and visit the Zhou king like every quarter or like every year. And then each small country or the Guo belongs to the Zhou dynasty, and they have the duty to pay tax and protect the empire. So peasants will always be peasants, merchants will always be merchants, and nobles will always be nobles. And king, of course, will always be king. That's the case in China, and that's feudalism. And feudalism has been peaceful for around 200 years, and then war broke out because some people think the Zhou dynasty is absurd. They believe because the king did not hold much power, the king allows the noble to have armies. Okay, so if the nobles want to revolt, they can just unite and revolt against the king. That is like so absurd and hilarious to allow nobles to have armies. Yeah, right. Like have armies, and then they have the chance and opportunity to revolt against you at any sense if they want. Okay, so talking about imagination and symbolism. Finally, we have a quote from the Confucius and the left. I hope you don't find the background information very boring. So, oh, so I'm going to read this. 季子谓季氏，八窍舞于庭，是可忍也，孰不可忍也。So this is a very famous quote, 是可忍也，孰不可忍也. But however, the background story of it is not very important, like it's not very well known. So when Confucius heard that the head of Ji family used 8 rows of dancers to perform the ceremonies at his ancestral temple, Confucius commented, if he's capable of that, what isn't he capable of? So Ji family is like Zhu Hou, a very prominent family who have a very high social status, just a little bit lower than the Zhou Tianzi, like the king of it. And then he has used 8 times 8, 64 dancers in a ritual. However, only the empire, only the Zhou Tianzi is allowed. Like this kind of 8 times 8, 64 dancers is designed specially for the king. And like Zhu Hou and Ji family is only allowed with 6 times 6, 36. So why does even Confucius care about how many people dance? Can anyone explain that to me? Like, why does he care? Like, why would a governor care about how many dancers?
Maybe more dancers signifies like more power.
Mm-hmm. So this dancing is a ritual. It has religious and also political meaning behind it. And only the king is allowed with 8 times 8. Well, this noble family is using 6 times 6. It is highly possible that they are hinting they want to revolt. They want to be the king. They do not they do not respect the Zhou king at all, because it is known to the entire society that 8 times 8 is king only, and then the Ji use 8 times 8. What do you think they're saying? They're implying that we want to be the king. This is the ambition hidden behind the dancing. And then Confucius is so mad at this, saying that if he is capable of using like this, that refers to like using 64 dancers. If he is capable of that, what isn't he capable of? So this is implying that he will be highly possible of revolting against the Zhou dynasty. Okay, so let me show you a very elegant dance. So how can I play this? So I don't know which part of it. I'm afraid of telling. let's not watch the solo. Let's jump to the drama. So you can see that the music and also the dancing style, you can feel religion and also symbolic meaning behind it. Especially the music used is very traditional Chinese music. Okay, let's count how many people, how many dancers are we having? So, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, 5, 5, 5. We have 17 dancers. We're not as prominent as the G family. It's not even dare to have 36 dancers. We only have 17 dancers. So this can get you a basic understanding of how Chinese dancing and it's like. This is not, I can promise you, this is not what Confucius mentioning the dancing is, but like no one have ever quoted what kind of structure and thing like the ancient woman is dancing. So I'll just take this. Like you will have a basic understanding what the dancing is like, what its music is played like. Okay, talking about funeral, why does it matter? So death, life and death, especially death, is often ignored and also prevented to let the younger children to understand it because the especially the elder people think it is not lucky, it is a wrong thing to do. So why does it matter? I think you guys see the answer, but can you just answer me like why do you think funeral matters in Chinese culture? Oops. Think about the kinship and also the human relationship between people. What is a funeral? What is the purpose of a funeral?
Like respect the dead, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It's not only respect, but also funeral. It's the um structure and like it's the performance for the alive people. It's to for the still alive people to show their reverie, their love, their care, their affection, and filial piety to the dead person. And 孝道, I don't know if you know this Chinese 孝道, it's the fundamental of Li. So human relationships is like you are his son and he's your father. Like this relationship, like human relationship, it's just the fundamental, like the founding, the most important element of Li. And then 孝道 and funeral, it's just a structure. Like it's just a way of presenting it. So let's read a quote from Analect. So 世禄, so this person is one of Confucius' students, and Shilu asked about serving the spirits. Confucius said, if you can't yet serve men, how can you serve the spirits? And then Lu said, may I ask about this? Confucius said, if you don't understand what life is, how will you understand death? Chinese version is that 记录问世鬼神，子曰：未能视人，焉能视鬼？敢问死曰：未知生，焉知死？ This is a really, at first glance, this is very contradictory. How do you mean if you don't understand what life is? How do you understand death? 未知生，焉知死? So, what is your understanding of this quote?
Like you have to first understand what you can like physically sense and see first, and then go into understanding what you can't experience yet.
Yeah. Okay, that leads to the topic like Chinese people and everywhere in the world have this curiosity about what life is after death. And this is made up of religion and also the worship of everything. So it's talking about serving the spirits. So Chinese people believe that spirits will last forever long, and worship of spirits is origin of our religion in China. As people wonder like what will happen to me after I died. I still have this belief like I still wonder like after I die what happened to me, but I don't have I don't have the bravery to try it myself. I don't want to die only when I was 60. So let's ask what the Buddha and also Confucius said. So this curiosity leads to the question like, will people die? Will the dead revive? Okay, so how should we design the funeral to best suit the spirit so they can revive? People believe in religion and worship God because they fear the uncertainty of afterlife. They hope that the God will protect them after death. So I think now you understand. If you don't understand what life is, how to understand death. So death is more about the fear and not the uncertainty of life. Okay, so funeral. What is a ritual for the alive? This might seem hilarious at the first glance. I mean, funeral is for the dead people, right? How does the ritual for the alive people? Before the big question of what is the purpose of funeral, what is so special about human relationships in China? So I'm talking about human relationship means 人伦. This might be a little bit confusing. Human relationships in China. So how do you refer to relatives? What do you call them in Chinese compared to what you call them refer to in English? Is there any difference?
I'm not quite sure, but like I feel like I just all call them like by whatever like relationship they have to me, like aunt or like
Yeah.
IU.
Okay. So this is pretty interesting because in English, you do not you do not have this difference between your father's relative and your mother's relative. But in China, you do have like you refer to your mother's brothers as 舅舅, and then you refer to your father's brothers as 叔叔. And then in Chinese, you have 叔叔、婶婶、姑姑, and 舅舅, which means completely different thing. Like it classifies if it's from the mother's family or it's from the father's family. And then another interesting is that Chinese people care about how like the gender for how like you refer as 表妹 or 表弟, and then English you only refer as cousins, right? Cousins. The gender and whether or not it comes from the mother or the father's family means a lot in China, but in English it doesn't. I'm always confused, like how do you classify if it's an older sister or a younger sister? But in Chinese it's just 姐姐 or 妹妹, and it always confused me because how do you even know like if it are you referring to the elder or the younger sister? And then in Chinese, grandma is as 外婆 or 奶奶. 外婆 means it comes from your mother's side, so mother's mother, and 奶奶 means it's from your father's mother. So I'm always really confused by the English reference to your relatives. Like how do you even know who are you referring to? Okay. Maybe you just get used to it, but in China we do not use that. Like we
I
do not.
guess
Mhm.
I just want to say I feel like it's also like a part of like just use their name because like yeah, I get what you mean by like oh like I find like whenever I go to China like it gets like really tiring to remember
Yeah,
like
it's
this side of the family is
mhm.
called what on like it's just really like confusing if you're not used to it.
Yeah, it's okay. So I was really confused when I first visited my relatives in America. Like this is a big party and all my American relatives are there. I was like, I was having a really trouble time classifying whether or not he is like an elder sister or younger sister of my father, because my father have like cousins have all kind of cousins, so I was really confused. And then I made out a point, like you said, you just refer them by the name, but in China, referring to your elder relatives, it's disrespectful. Like if you it's not the case in America, I believe, but in China, like if you refer directly to your parents' name, for example, my dad is called Joe. If you just call him by Joe, he'll accept that, but it's weird. And if you just directly refer to your aunt, like maybe I assume it's pretty casual in English, but in Chinese, like saying out your auntie's Chinese full name, it would just cause it would be so embarrassing for both of us. So we never use that. So you point out that a unique point feature of Chinese society is that we do care a lot about the relationship, especially specific relationship between people. It might be aunties, but it might also be the younger or the elder sister of of your father. It might be grandma. It might be for your mother's side or your father's side, and it does matter because in China, as I mentioned before, the age and also the gender matters a lot. It matters to the point that it means whether or not you have greater social status in your home. We characterize male from female relatives from mother and father side because back in China, your mother's side of relatives, they have different last name from you. They are considered as the more distant relatives. However, back like in modern China is not the case, but in ancient China, they means they are the more distant relatives. However, your father's relatives, they all have the same last name. You are in the same family with them. It's not like you're distant. You're in the same family. You're the same group of people. And about the age, it matters because Chinese is really about 长幼尊卑. Like the elder have the younger people should pay more respect to the elder people, and that is written in like laws or something. So that is like you must follow that, or else it's wrong. So gender and age matters a lot in China, but not as a lot in Korea. That's a different story. Um, so this is a very interesting, interesting one. Um, talking about 五福, I don't know the 出五福. So if your family, if yourself has made a terrible mistake and you have, and the king was so mad at you that he wanted to kill your entire family, and how will he consider it as part of a family? That means, 出五福, like out of the 五福, he is no longer your family, and he will not be bothered or killed by the empire. So this is, let me use a laser. This is yourself. This is your parents. This is your parents' parents, your great grandparents, and great 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 parents, and then 出五福 means that it is 5 generations away from it. No matter is your elder or it's your like grandsons or granddaughters. And then 出五福 亲兄弟 like your own brother, you have the same parents, and then your parents brothers or sisters child, all the kind of thing. And then if it's out of like the one that is not have the color grid, that means they'll not be affected if you had done something wrong. So if the king wants to punish you, he will kill everyone in your family, like who have the color graded. All those people will be bothered, will be dead. However, the people out of that will not be dead. And this leads out to an interesting model, which is 同心圆, means that they all have this. This is a interesting circle, and in the very middle, it's yourself, and then maybe it's your brother and your own child, and then the people who is closer to the center means that they have closer relationship with you, and the people on the outermost circle means that they are very distant, but they are still in the same family with you. So what does it matter? This is a quote from Anna or like the thing that Kongzi has written. 齐景公问政于孔子，孔子对曰：君君臣臣，父父子子。公曰：善哉！信如君不臣，君不君，臣不臣，父不父，子不子。南有粟，吾得而熟之。So this means, okay, this duke is a noble in the Zhou dynasty, and he's a relative of the Zhou king. And he asked Confucius about governance. Confucius replied, the important thing is that let lords be lords, ministers be ministers, fathers be fathers, and sons be sons. 君君臣臣父父子子 means that Jin should behave, lord should behave like a lord, minister should behave properly like a minister, and then father and son should behave in their relationship, in their social identity. So the Duke said, oh, excellent. If I do not behave in that way, would I be able to eat even I had food? So it means that people care a lot about how you behave and how you should behave in the way, considering your own relationship with other people. You should respect the father, and father should be strict and loving to the son, and ministers should respect and praise the Lord, and the Lord should care about the entire country. So this relationship between people matters a lot. Okay, I'm running out of time. Oops. So I'm going to run really brief about the process of a proper ancient Chinese general. Okay. Gonna be like ended in 10 minutes or so. So the process, I cannot find a proper English translation, so I just use Chinese. So when you first die, when people notice that you're dying, you put a 棉花under your nose to see whether or not it will be blown away. If it's blown away, means that you're still breathing. You're not dead yet. If it's not breathing, it means you're completely dead, stone dead. And then it's the second stage, 十死或招魂. After death for 3 days, they'll place you in the finest house, in your finest bedroom. And then they will be your relative, especially your son, will be crying out your name for 3 days because they believe after people die, their spirits will be wandering around in the region, and then only their close relatives calling their name will bring the spirits back to their body. And then it's 饭寒, means that after his death, they'll put a rice, or maybe if the family is wealthier, they'll put gems in their mouth so that they have food afterlife. They'll have food after they died. And 小脸大脸, 脸 means that putting makeups and wearing the clothes for them. And 小脸 means that it's a minor one, so they're wearing just casual clothes. And 大脸 means they're wearing the ceremonial and more symbolic clothes on. And then 臣服 and 入葬 just mean putting them under the soil or maybe into the tomb. And then the last stage is that they have special anniversary or like special days. It's 7 days, 100 days, 30 months, and then 27 months. So based on how close you're with relatives, you'll be staying how long beside its dead body. And if your own mother died, it's 3 years. You'll stay beside the funeral for 3 years. Beside the tomb for 3 years, 36 months. And during that time period, you're not allowed to eat meat, and you're not allowed to take test and be a governor, so that's not allowed. Okay, so okay, quickly look at the 5 different clothes that guests will be wearing. Which one do you think have the closest relationship with a dead person? Okay, that's really like 20% chance. Which one do you think? This one?
Red outline thing, like
This
that,
one?
yeah.
Okay, you're very smart. Okay, so why do you think that's way?
I don't know. The next question talks about holding a walking stick.
I should have deleted that question. This is a close relationship because he needs to use a walking stick to show how sad and miserable and grieved he is. Like he cannot stand on his own. He needs a walking stick to hold himself, to show that his grievedness It's to a certain extent. And that all of them is wearing linen or mabu, and it's very rough, and it was scratched on the skin. And they're all wearing linen, but the point is that this is like a very distant relative of the dead person. Like they are wearing a more finer, a more smoother one. However, this person, he's wearing the roughest linen and texture, and normally it will be scratching blood and also all kind of small scratches on the skin. So this is to show that I have so much pain. I'm feeling so sad. Like he died. That's the human like wearing the beads. Okay, so that's basically the funeral. And so from ancient China to modern China. So do you think Li is still formalism? Like talking all about all that thing, examples and rituals. Do you think Li is formalism? Okay, maybe it's a little bit hard. So first question is that Confucius is definitely not hypocritical. So our title is Confucius hypocritical formalist? It's just because it's funny. So Confucius is not hypocritical. He is a very wise man that made up all those rules. And then Li is not formalism. Li, a most Li was first invented. It was used as a political tool. However, till nowadays, it has transformed to all kind of things. And formalism is only when you are following things without having the emotion of it. Like you do something, but it's forced. It's not you are doing this on your own. You are forced to do so. And formalism is when you lost the emotion and the potential intention of doing that. And that is formalism. And Li is not. And sometimes Li might be formalism, but most of the time it is not. It's just the rules and also the rituals and the common social norms or maybe the founding principles of Chinese society, even till now. So that is all for today's lesson. And do you have any more questions about formalism or Li or anything? You can ask me. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, good evening or good night or good morning. And that'll be the end of today's lesson. And please turn in the homework if I highly recommend you guys to turn in the reflection homework because it will be the best. And that's